Welcome to Nestology. We're your hosts, Shelley.
And I'm Jessica.
And today we're going to talk about some fun stuff about how to hire a contractor. So we kind of got started talking about, Jessica had a recent crazy plumbing story that she was telling me about with a client this week. And I thought this would be a good topic that we should dive into. So Jessica, how do you find a good contractor? But maybe you should start with the story first.
Okay, happy to share the story. I mean, we see this a lot with contractors, shady contractors,
What?
criminal
Shady.
contractors. And there's this one that Shelley's talking about just a few weeks ago. A little bit of a long story, but it's an interesting one. So my sellers were under contract with their house, and the buyers, it's an older 1970s house. When the buyers had their inspection done, the inspector said there was some debris and dirt in the cast iron pipes. That's something, when you have cast iron pipes, want to have those checked, make sure there's no cracks.
Cast iron pipes?
It's something we see in the older houses, and you do want to check them, make sure everything's good. So that's why they did the scope of the pipes. So an inspector, they always recommend a professional, have a plumber out to take a look. So the buyers had a plumber out, and he said immediately, without even doing a pressure test, so there's a test, it's a hydrostatic test, and it tests the pressure, and that's how you find leaks. He didn't even do that. He did a scope and said, you need all new pipes under the entire house, and it's going to be $22,000.
Oh, you are kidding.
And so, of course, everybody's freaking out, buyers and sellers. Everybody's stressed because that's a scary thing.
It's a huge chunk of change.
It is so much. I mean, it was going to impact so much for everybody. My sellers wouldn't have been able to have enough money to move on to their next house. It was scary. So I told them to get a second opinion.
Now, where did you originally find this contractor?
This was the buyer's agent had recommended them. Apparently, he met him on a renovation project that he did a while back. So he had recommended them.
Oh, it wasn't one of your
No.
well-known. Okay.
Yeah, the buyers, when they're doing their inspections, they get to pick who they want to come out for these inspections. So,
Of course.
but yeah, so while we're waiting on the plumber that's going to come out for the second opinion the night before, I couldn't sleep. So I am doing a lot of investigating. I went detective mode.
Yeah, you do a good job of that.
I wanted to see what I could find about this guy. On his invoice, he had his name, his business name, cell phone, and an email. Could not find anything with any of those anywhere.
Online?
Online
no,
anywhere.
No presence.
I was even looking on Facebook to see if people had, referred him. Maybe his business is, referral. But yeah, no Google pages, nothing out there. He's not on the Better Business Bureau. There's nothing registered with his business name. So it was all a little sketch. And then he hand wrote on his invoice a license number. So I went to the Texas Board of Plumbers and looked up the license number, and it did not match the name.
What?
So that was a huge red flag. So the next morning I asked the agent to get information on this. Why is this a different person's name? It was a plumber that he used to work for. He was using his license number because he is not a master plumber and can't pull permits. So he was illegally using someone else's number to pull permits. So we got his license number. He's only an apprentice plumber, and his license expired last September.
And he wanted to collect $22,000 and said something was wrong.
Said that needed all new pipes under the entire house. Everything under the house needed to be replaced for just $22,000. And he's only an apprentice plumber, and he's going to do all this himself and illegally pull permits. Well, then it gets even better because the next morning Strip Matter came out and they did the pressure test. There were 0 cracks. There were no repairs needed.
Oh my gosh.
So this wasn't even it got blown out of proportion where there were repairs needed, and he took it a step too far. He, like I said, criminal.
So what did you do?
Nothing. Having the pressure test proved to the buyers that nothing was needed, but I mean, it still tainted everything because my sellers were frustrated and had lost sleep for days, had to take time off work. I mean, it was stressful for everybody. So everyone was on edge and irritated. So luckily we still got to closing. Everything was fine, but it could have cost us the sale. It could have cost the buyers their new home that they loved.
That is so unbelievable.
But imagine if they had just gone with that contractor and let him replace all the pipes in the house.
Oh my gosh. So how would you recommend then, trying to find a good contractor?
I mean, it is it's hard. So you have to be very careful, especially if it's a big project that you're doing. I mean, if you're doing little handyman things around the house, it's not as, big of a deal. But if you're talking about something like this, major renovations to your home or very expensive repairs, I say to first, ask friends and family, people that you know who they've worked with before, because that's one of the best ways is to get referrals. But checking online, look for reviews, Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Angie's List, and now some of those are paid. I get it, but looking for reputable, make sure they have an online presence.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, that's where I would start. But then, once you get a list of some options, really do your research on those companies and dive in. Like I said, read as many reviews as you can and look for licensing and certificates.
Yeah, where do you find that? Like, I wouldn't even know where to go. Like, you've got, I don't know, a plumber and you've got a license number. Where do you go? Where do you go to find out it's legit?
Whatever industry. Now, not all industries have requirements for licensing, but like plumbers, electricians, they do. And if whatever state you're in, you can search, put Texas licensed plumbers, and you'll be able to find like it's some sort of a licensing bureau, like a board. For Texas, it's the board. I think it's called the Board of Licensed Plumbers or something along those lines. But it'll have a search. It's just like for us as real estate agents. We have the Texas Real Estate Commission, where you can type in someone's name or license number and pull up everything to see that their license is active and in good standing. And there's other details about that in there, what type of license they have. So I would suggest looking for those things. And it can even be a way to find contractors too, because you can go to those licensing boards, or you can go to your local like Home Builders Association or trade organizations to search out people that way. You check with Better Business Bureau, Google reviews, and checking there.
Now, you have a good list of people, though, that you've already done the research on.
Yeah, and so if you have a real estate agent that you've worked with, very likely they have a list of people that they can refer you to, because just like me, I see it every day. I'm dealing with plumbers, electricians, contractors, roofers. Oh my gosh, the number of roofers I get to deal with.
Oh, especially nowadays, right? With all the storms here in Texas and our area and the hail.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I see the shady ones and I see the amazing ones. So yes, reaching out to your real estate agent, that can be a great resource to get some names. But after you get those, the next thing you want to do is interview and talk to a couple contractors and get bids.
So what kind of questions would you ask?
Depending on the type of work, you can check on, like I said, ask about their licensing. You can ask about insurance, liability, if something were to happen to them or their employees on the job, how they hire their contractors. So, they're likely not going to be the only people on the property. So do they hire their own employees where they do background checks, or is this day labor?
Oh my
Who's
gosh,
coming into your
never
house?
thought to ask all these questions.
They could literally be picking up people that morning. You could have someone who has a criminal record a mile long with home burglaries, and you may not know that. So where do they get their employees from?
Good questions. Good questions.
You can ask, what type of specialty, especially if you're doing like a big home renovation, what are their specialties, and ask for examples of their work and references from past clients.
Great questions.
Also talk about, what the process will look like, the time frame, payments, contract.
How can I pay? Do you take credit cards?
Well, and do you pay up front? Do you pay a deposit up front? Who's funding, especially, again, bigger renovations, who's funding the project, and where will this be coming from? And getting a copy of the contract that you guys will be signing together. What type of warranties and guarantees that they offer.
Do you always sign a contract? I don't think I've done that.
It depends on the type of work that's going to, If it's small, then no. But usually they're going to give you some sort of a quote up front, some sort of paperwork to show you what the work will entail. But yeah, the bigger projects, foundation work, giving that whole scope of work. What's the time frame going to look like? Are they going to be doing the pressure test after for the plumbing? So there's just so many different aspects of some of these projects that could span over the course of weeks or months.
Wow. I bet you've seen some things with this, some crazy stories with some kind of shady contractors out there.
It's shocking how many bad ones are out there, but oh gosh, it just makes me appreciate the good ones even more. The ones I know I can
Absolutely.
rely on, to be honest with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now with all the hail and everything, we've got a lot of, brand new roofers.
Yeah. Oh, the warranties. I was starting to talk about that. Warranties and guarantees for the work. Not just what the warranty is, how long it's warranted for, but how is it being warranted? Because if the warranty is through the company, so say it's foundation, and ABC Foundation, that's not a real one, I'm making that up. They say, oh yeah, this is lifetime warranty. Well, what happens? It's a small family business. He dies, he goes out of business. What happens to that warranty?
What?
Yep. So and that has happened. So there are.
Do you have a list of these questions you could share? I mean, there's some of us that might need a little help with these.
Actually, I do. I had a blog recently after the plumber.
Oh,
so
did you?
I did. So it is on my website. So there are a list of some of these questions in my blog.
Okay, you're going to have to share that. We all need to know.
I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put a link in there.
Perfect.
All right.
We need that.
And I'll put it on our socials too. But yeah, with the warranties, so what some companies will do, and this is obviously preferred, is where they use a third-party warranty company, and that is who holds the warranty. So that way you know who's going to have that, and it will last past the end of that business, especially if it's a small business, which I love small businesses. I'm a small business owner, so are you.
Yes.
So we want to support small businesses. But if it's, a single owner and he passes away or he retires, what's going to happen? And what I have seen some of them do is that they pass it on they sell their company to another, we're using the example of foundation, so they sell it to another foundation company. But then that's not who you hired. So I have seen issues with that too, where the company that bought out your warranty, you don't get along with, or they aren't reputable and uphold the warranty. So it's a good one to ask.
Okay. Did not think about that. I'm going to have to go back and look at some of the bigger projects that I've done to see what my warranty is and who's holding it currently.
Yes. And those can transfer too. And that's something, if you buy a house that has a warranty, so say this work, a roof was replaced or foundation work was done before you bought the house and it was the sellers who did that, you have to transfer those. They don't automatically transfer. And there's often a fee involved, but it's usually $100, $200. But then you can transfer the warranty into your name.
Okay. I did not think about that paperwork when you're selling a house.
Yeah.
If there's a warranty involved.
Yes, you have to transfer it. And usually it's only like 30 to 60 days, which you're so busy moving.
So I'm assuming you go through this with your clients. Your sellers.
I try to remind them of all of the warranties and getting all that done.
You're so thorough.
Oh, thank you. I think that's all under interviewing. So then your next step is comparing those quotes and contracts. So compare, the scope of work, materials used, timelines. You want to ensure that the contract includes all the things that you guys talked about just because it's said in your meeting doesn't mean it gets on paper. And I see this too with new construction. There's so much talk of, well, we want this finish here. We want this flooring here. If it doesn't end up in the contract, it doesn't get done. And there's no way to hold them to it if it's verbal. So make sure everything is in writing. Be very thorough. Too often people just sign these documents so quickly without even looking over it.
Check the documents.
Yes. So then once you've selected someone, monitoring the progress and communication, especially, like I said, if this is a longer term, repair or major renovation in the house. So schedule regular check-ins so you can get an update on progress. Keep track of payments. Make sure you have all the evidence of payments, especially if there's different forms of payment going through. So keep track of all of that to ensure that you have proof that you've paid. And if there's problems, address them immediately. You don't want to have misunderstandings or things that go unaddressed because it'll just get harder the longer you wait.
This is great information. I love it. But I need your notes.
Well, like I said, I've got that on the blog. So if you are needing to hire contractors, you can check that out, like I said, in the show notes or on our socials. And I think that's it for hiring contractors. Do your homework.
Do the research. I love it.
All right. Well, be sure to check out our socials. You can find us at Nestology Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. You can also email us at nestologypodcast@gmail.com. Have a great day.
Have a great day.